are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa! My name is Collin Austin, and on the show, the very first guest co-host replacing Michael Dees because I don't know where he is, is... Hold on. Let me read this grand intro. Is my wing woman, dog and tarantula mama, the woman who brings me back to earth and repaints very own chief operating officer. It says COO, and I totally messed it up. Allison Mutrino. Hey.
Hi. Good morning.
What is the woman who brings me back to earth?
Yesterday you were like, oh, thanks for being like, what would I do without you? Like, I'd move my head or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I'm your
hey,
foil.
Dude, well, thanks so much for replacing Mike today and for being here.
I mean, I feel like that's generally my job.
You guys, yeah, so Allison, tell everybody a little bit about what you do and how long you've been working. How about with me?
With you, okay.
Because that would make a little bit more sense because it's all over the place. So give the world a little bit of background.
So I started working at New Scooters for Less with Collin at the old location 4-ish years ago, I think. Yeah, right around 4 years ago. As a salesperson part-time. I was actually freelancing graphic design at that point and did not love my clients. And so I started working with them part-time to help them out through August, and then I couldn't leave. I had Collin and Mike and my husband, who also works at New Scooters for Less. Hi, Dante. All asking me, so are you going to stay now? And you can't say no to them. And then about 6 months later, I became the OMG at New Scooters for Less, the office management guru, and kind of took on a bunch of hats there. And then I left for 6 months last year, and Collin started another company and a podcast while I was gone. I went to go hike the Appalachian Trail and then ended up turning into a road trip up the East Coast, which was really cool. But then I came back and I was at New Scooters for Less as OMG again. And Collin was like, so you want to come to the other team? And I was like, 100% yes. So I started at Repaint in January. I had some things to finish out at New Scooters for Less the end of last year.
Companies everywhere. You get a company. Yeah. You get a company. Everybody gets a company.
Yeah. So Mike and I actually worked really close together. So I feel like I'm always his backup.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely like my other half in business. Yeah. Because
definitely
from the organizational standpoint, the processes standpoint, yeah, I need a lot of help.
Not that much. You just need the person who fits your... You have really great vision.
I just need the person who's going to run the company.
Who make the vision happen.
Well,
make the vision happen.
Well, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Of course.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Well, let me introduce to you our guests. You guys, we have Brandon and Lindsay Higgins, the creators and co-founders of Legacy Events 911. I'm just kidding. It's actually Legacy Events 119, not 911, as everybody else likes to think. A boutique, luxury, and crazy fun DJ company that serves Florida and Georgia. And you guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but Lindsay is a sprinkled donut in a world of plain bagels. I just want you guys to know that right now, because this is going to be an interesting episode. I mean, if we were recording everything the last half hour as we were getting set up and get ready, I mean, wow. I mean, wow.
I'm glad I could be here.
And Lindsay wanted to do the intro for the show this morning.
Yes.
She's actually not only, we're doing these couples episodes this month, and we got husband and wife that work together, built this business, and that's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the challenges of working with Lindsay in a second.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. But you guys, Lindsay's my number one fan. Like, I think she's the only person who has listened to every episode of the podcast. And,
I'm loyal.
And she is loyal. And she listened. She's got the intro nailed, right? Is that what you told me?
It's not exactly nailed, but
Okay.
You know.
So
I mean, the practice round was
we're
on point.
yeah, we're gonna let you do this.
Are we doing it this early in the game?
Do you want to wait?
I want to
You've
wait.
got to set
Do you
the
need to
tone,
drink more
so you've got to
coffee?
start.
Yeah, you need more coffee. What do you need? You need more coffee?
I need to warm up. I need to get in my conversation mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So.
But we'll bring it.
All right. So.
But I need to
Everybody,
wait.
stay tuned because at the end of this podcast, Lindsay's going to do the intro, which makes a lot of freaking sense. And
It'll hold
yeah.
the listeners.
Yeah, we're gonna hold the listeners to the very end, and we're gonna go. So, and then Brandon just might karaoke Gin and Juice.
We might. You never know when it could just pop off.
That is his song.
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, you guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for
having
Thanks
us.
for
Yeah.
thanks for making me adjust my entire schedule to accommodate you guys and do this on a Friday morning.
Well, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do for your number one fan, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
haven't I earned that
it's a
now?
reverse loyalty.
Status.
Yeah.
I'm actually
kidding.
glad you did that because like after you asked us to be on the podcast, like I really wanted to be on the podcast, and then you ask us, and I was like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of scary, and then I was like, okay, we need to do it. We need to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure to accommodate your high demanded schedule.
Exactly. We greatly appreciate
Like,
it.
We do.
Yes.
Don't want to set the tone for everybody else out there that gets invited to be a guest. I go and revolve the entire world around you guys. But
The
no,
listeners
I mean,
who
you
know
know,
me.
like it's funny because I met them for the first time for lunch. We just were like, yo, we need to know each other. Let's go grab lunch, and we grabbed lunch, and I mean, Lindsay was ready to drink in the middle of the day. I mean, we went to a brewery.
we were gonna
it was
be friends.
noon. It was noon. She's like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly.
Maybe those weren't the exact words, but I mean, it was something like that. But no, I knew instantly that we were gonna be BFFs forever.
Yes.
I got a lot of BFFs
It's
though.
true.
So I make BFFs with everybody.
Hey, that's
But-
not a bad thing.
But no, it was cool. It had a lot of energy. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I knew this was gonna be fun, and I knew that I was gonna be able to razz on you guys. And that's the truth. Like with a lot of guests, I don't, I like to be very, very, very casual. Mm-hmm. And we've even talked about doing these episodes at night where I could have a glass of wine and maybe a couple beers, and God, who knows what would happen if that were the case.
Well, that's what scared me about going on the podcast is I was like, we're just so raw. Like, we're just so, like, who we are all the time.
But that makes for the best podcast. That's what I'm trying to get communicated to everybody else is like, that's what makes for a great show. So so everybody breathe in, breathe out, and everybody
We're here.
be ready to be raw AF on this episode. So okay, so you obviously
We know the
know our
format.
format because I mean, you're my number one fan, and so I always want to dive into like the origin stories and hear like how this baby came about. You know, like because I know you do like 18 different other things,
Yeah.
and you got this full-time business. So, but tell us how this idea, everything came to birth, and make sure Brandon gets a chance.
Well,
to
that's
talk.
what I already
Exactly.
told
That's the
him.
key. Yeah.
I said on the way here, I said, you're going to go first. So what we're going to do is he's going to tell his story, then he's going to stop, then I'm going to tell my story, and then we're going to merge them.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
This sounds epic.
Okay.
I'm excited to see how different the stories are going to be.
Exactly. That's the best part of husband and wife because you never really know what the other's going to say.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go.
So originally, I started out in high school with an apprenticeship program. I wanted to be in the apprenticeship program they had set up at our school for electricians. So it was basically set up to where you would go to school for half a day, work half a day, go to technical school half a day. The reason I wanted to do this is because they were paying $1.50, $2 more an hour than any fast food restaurant. So we were trying to make sure that I was making as much money as possible. I did that for 15 years, and it got to the point that I'd worked my way up through the company. I was a supervisor. Yes.
You didn't say what you did yet.
What?
You said you said an apprenticeship program, but not in what?
Did I not say electrical?
No.
I heard electrical.
Oh.
somewhere
Said
in
electrical.
there.
See?
I
It
didn't
was
hear
somewhere
it.
in
This
there.
is what I'm talking about. She doesn't listen. It is
Hey,
proof, and we
Genesis,
have
can
it
we
on
get Lindsay another
camera.
cup of coffee?
Exactly.
please?
We have it on video. She does not listen to me.
Okay.
She does not listen.
I heard apprenticeship, no electrical.
Okay.
Keep going.
Marriage issues. Number one. Marriage issues does not
Taking
listen.
notes over here.
Listening.
It's always been a struggle.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So I had worked my way up through the company. I was a supervisor. I ran a crew of guys. We did multi-million-dollar jobs. And it had basically gotten to the point that I couldn't really grow anymore unless I went out on my own and started my own company. And I knew that I had another 30, 40 years left before I could actually retire from this. And I was going to be stuck in that same spot the rest of my life. So I enjoyed doing karaoke. And that's kind of how the whole thing began. I bought a speaker, a microphone.
Gin and juice, go right now.
I can't do it.
You want me?
There's too many.
Alexa, play gin and juice.
I'll tell you what his
Hold
really.
on, everybody, hold on.
On Amazon Music.
It's pretty good.
All right, here we go.
Oh, this is the greatest.
Is this a remix? Oh no, messed up. It's
Yeah, you
remix.
can't do the remix.
Alexa picks what she wants. She's in charge. I don't even know what to do.
I'll tell you what it's.
All right, Alexa off. All right, sorry for the remix. That would have been cool if it would have.
Yes. If I would have known it too, that would have been even better.
But all right, well,
So
Okay.
yeah. So what happened? I bought a microphone. Literally.
I like how we just went right.
I got straight into it. All about business. I bought a microphone, a speaker, and a mixer, and picked up some karaoke and thought I was going to take over the world, being the greatest karaoke DJ in the world
The local Applebee's.
at the local Applebee's. And that's really how it started. I had a friend of mine that they were photographers. It was a husband-wife team, and they're like, there's plenty of money in weddings if you want to pick up a couple of weddings here and there. We have couples that are looking for DJs all the time. We can refer you stuff along the way. So that's kind of how it started. They introduced me to another DJ in the local area that had a lot of overflow work, and he would slowly send me parties and weddings and anniversaries and little stuff like that until we could kind of get everything started. So that's kind of where she comes into the mix. Is I had basically started the company for about a year and a half before I actually met her, and then that's kind of where it all went to the bad place.
So, I think you kind of shorted your origin story a little bit, but there's more.
Okay.
I feel like, but whatever.
Lindsay's gonna be like, so Brandon was born.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like you did more.
way
You were
back.
pretty humble about it, but that's good.
And when he was 2,
So me. I feel like it all really began with Lindsay's pots way back in the day. So
Lindsay's
when I-
pot?
Lindsay's
You-
pots.
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 Oh.
Ceramic pots.
Okay.
Okay.
When I was
Just checking. Wouldn't surprise me
if I would
it was
have known
the
the money and the other, it probably. But so basically, I got these ceramic pots. Well, my mom bought them, and I started painting them when I was 8, 9 years old. And then I was like, okay, I think I can sell these to people. So I got on the computer we had at home, and I made a order form. And I even had like the perforated, like I put the ... so that you could like cut off a receipt, because I thought that made you legit.
Yeah.
So I did. That was my real first go at being an entrepreneur. And my family bought them like crazy, thankfully. And there's a few of those still around. I should have
But
brought
did
one.
other people buy them besides your family?
I conned a few people. I think a teacher did.
Yeah, and so this is the best part. Her mom originally bought them. She painted them, and her mom bought them again. So that's love.
That's a lot of love.
I mean,
That's
Parents
entrepreneurship at its
sacrificial.
finest.
Exactly.
It was. So that's where it really all began. Then, when I was about 11, I fell in love with the show ER, because they used to run reruns on TNT all the time, and I would watch them. Well, as I was watching those episodes, I decided I wanted to be Abby Lockhart. So if anybody watched ER back in the day, I just thought she was...
It had a great intro song.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. So I was
I didn't
like,
watch
you know
it.
what?
I just remember the intro.
Yeah, exactly.
I never watched it until we got married.
I
She
made
forced me
him
to watch every episode, every
Yes.
season, everything.
As you do when you get married.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
a great show. So it inspired me, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be an ER nurse. This is what I'm going to do. So
Is it like TV?
yeah, in some ways it really is.
Okay.
Yeah. ER, not like Grey's Anatomy and all those other. Those are very dramatic, but that TV show was pretty authentic. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, from that point forward, I started making my life where I was going to go to nursing school, and I did. I was impatient, shocker, and I applied for the LPN program at Florida Gateway College. Whoop, whoop.
I don't know what that is.
It's in Lake City.
What's LPN?
LPN, licensed practical nurse.
Okay.
So basically, you can do a lot of the same things a nurse can, except a few things, and you're way underpaid. So you have that, and then you can progress to being an RN. So I was an LPN first because the program for LPN started before RN, and I didn't want to wait to apply, which in hindsight was a terrible idea. But so I was an LPN first. I worked in pediatric outpatient for a long time. Then I became an RN, and I went into the hospital, into the ER.
And so
And
what years did
so
all this take
I was
place?
actually an LPN. I started that in 2006. I was 18. So pretty much for my whole life, I've been a nurse. And then I really liked my pediatric outpatient job, so I did that for 8 years. And then I went back to school because I wanted to actually go into the ER, and I finished my RN. And that was in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've been in the hospital ever since. So this all
Like
happened.
working or
Working.
It's time on, time off. Take it straight off. Yeah.
Yes, working.
again, just making sure.
Exactly. No, you need to ask
I
these
gotta
questions.
clarify the details.
Absolutely.
For the audience.
Yes.
So in the midst of all of this, I meet him in 2012.
Yes.
Yes, 2012. I had a friend. She was going up to Albany, Georgia, because he didn't mention that. He's from Georgia.
Yes, I'm from Georgia.
We'll forgive you.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
time.
Hey,
we're in
look,
Georgia.
He's
Not everyone can be
diehard.
perfect and from God's country. It's okay.
So a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm going up to Georgia this weekend to see my sister. Do you want to go with me?" And I was like, sure, whatever. Well, when we
Oh,
get
are you guys just friends? Like, hold on, I'm confused.
Okay.
When did you guys meet?
that's what I'm doing. This is it.
That's
But yeah,
this
we're
is the
getting
story.
there.
No, I'm with a friend.
Oh, with a different.
I'm with a girl.
I
Yeah,
thought
my
he was
friend.
asking you. Okay.
No, and she says to me, "I'm going up to Georgia to see my sister.
Got it.
Do you
Okay.
want to come with me?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't have anything going on." So we're on the way there. This is real. And I said to her, I was like, "So what should I expect? Like, I don't know any of these people." And she's like, "Oh, everything's good. Brandon's gonna be there. He's probably gonna try to hit on you. Just ignore him."
Point blank. She shot me down before I even had a chance. But that shows you the soldier that I am.
So I was like, "All right, fine."
Oh, so the friend, it was your friend?
Yes.
And a
Now,
relation of the friend to you?
She knew
She
him
was my
since
friend.
childhood.
exactly. I'd
Okay.
known her my whole life. I knew her longer than she did.
Oh man.
And she shot me down that quick.
Okay.
Like,
so
she
your
was like-
friend is already throwing you under the
Absolutely.
bus.
Yeah, no
before-
loyalty.
Who? Exactly. No loyalty.
Dude,
I mean,
what
this
is
is terrible.
up?
I know. So coming into the game, I
Let's
was
get this
already.
friend on the phone.
Absolutely. I think we should.
No, I'm just kidding.
So we get there.
Podcast is going to go in a weird direction.
So we get there and he's there. And actually he was there because he was doing electrical work. They had a new pool house. He was wiring it. So I like working class men. So I was like, I kind of like that. So I ignored him though. And then like a little bit later he started, talking to me, and I kind of ignored what she had to say, and we went from there. Well, so I said to him,
So
I was
you
like,
ignored your friend?
yes.
Okay.
So I said, "So what do you do? I mean, I see you're doing electrical work." He's like, "Yeah, I'm an electrician." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good." And he said, "But I also have a DJ company."
And you're like,
And I-
oh boy,
Yeah, the
now
look on her
you
face.
got my attention.
Absolutely.
No, I
the
just
look on her face was, "You might be the biggest loser I have ever met."
Yeah. I like looked at him and I was like, "Oh, okay, well," I said, "Let's just talk about the electrical thing."
Exactly.
Because I was like,
Yes.
"That's an upstanding job. Like this DJ thing, you might, let's not talk about that." So we never talked about the DJ thing really after that.
I'm just telling everybody right now, this is why we do the podcast in video, so you can see the expressions on people's faces. Because Lindsay's is like why you want to go watch the podcast on video.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So then fast forward like 3 months, 4 months, and we're dating at this point. And I'm living in Florida.
Hold on, how do you like? No, we're going too fast. I mean,
Wait,
I know. We're,
I didn't wanna bore
This is an
people.
entrepreneurial
See-
podcast, but now I'm interested.
Okay.
So listen, like, let me control this the flow of this thing, because you can't get the get all the listeners excited about where the story's going, and then 12 years later, you're like, whatever. Like, no. So how did you guys
want
get
the details?
Well, yeah, like started dating. Like,
Okay, so here's what happened. That same weekend.
Because after you're like, oh, a DJ.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
this is not happening. To how all of a sudden it
So
happened.
I
like,
redeemed myself the next night.
Yes. Okay. Because this was like a 3-day adventure. Okay. So the next night, everybody is at our friend's house, and he brings out his karaoke equipment. Okay. And again, I'm like, I have hopes for this guy, and he's a karaoke freak. Like, this is not good. So
And then he laid down gin and juice, and it was all over.
Here's
Even
where
better.
what happens.
Even better.
So I'm in the kitchen, he's in the living room, and there's a wall you can't see, and I'm not. And the next thing I know, now I know this is controversial now because there's a lot of controversy around the song, but I hear the intro of R. Kelly's Bump and Grind as if R. Kelly is in the next room.
No.
I'm talking.
He's like, yes.
I'm talking like R. Kelly is in the house. And I stop and I'm like, they were singing karaoke. Did they just like switch over to the regular track? And I round the corner and he's on the microphone.
And you're like, oh my God.
It was done. Right then, it was
get it
official.
now.
And I was
This
like,
is the man I'm going to marry.
Yeah, because I'm into music, obviously. And I was like, wow, he has like soul. So that sparked my interest. The rest of the weekend kind of went along. And then the next Friday night, I was in Florida. He's in Georgia. And I'm bored at home. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna text him because he had sent me a message like 4 days before that, and I had ignored
So you
it.
really made the first move on this?
Kind of, sort of.
Well,
yeah.
she ignored me originally.
He messaged me, but I
Yeah.
ignored him. But then I was bored on Friday and needed somebody to talk to. So I was like,
That's right.
let me just text him back.
I've always been her plus one all the way from the beginning.
So I texted him back, and then we ended up talking for like 5 hours. No, because you try to keep texting me, and I said, I don't do this text thing. Just call me. So that's how that started.
Well, how old are you?
Me?
You don't do the text thing?
I do it now. But
right.
that, this was still like 2012.
Yeah.
What kind of phone
but
did you
not
have?
for like a long
I had
conversation.
just gotten my first real iPhone.
Okay.
I had just
Like-
come off the flip phone.
like
pretty
3GS
much.
or something?
Yeah, it was early days, but I
Okay.
had just gotten it.
Okay.
So I said, call me. So then basically from there, like a month and a half later, he had an event, like an awards banquet up in Atlanta. And for his job, and he said, hey, you want to come up. So that was kind of basically when we first
I
started
officially
dating.
introduced her to other people than just the immediate friends that knew her. So my coworkers,
Yeah.
my friends, people I actually hang out with got a chance to meet her.
So then fast forward, this is where it gets to the DJ thing. So then fast forward like 2 or 3 months after that. And I'm like, okay, this weekend I can come up and see you in Georgia. And he says, okay, well, you can come, but I have a wedding to DJ this weekend. And so if you're coming, you're going to have to go with me. And I said, okay, I'll come. That's fine. So I get there and I'm like, wow, this is kind of legit. Like, this isn't backyard barbecue. This isn't
a kid's party.
Yes,
This is like-
this
Yes.
is a
So-
real event.
How long had you been doing it by that time?
Probably 2 years.
Okay. So
So-
you were like, you were well
I was slowly
versed
working
in,
myself.
like-
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, cool.
And go ahead.
I was like, and that was one of the cool things about her coming along. She has such a business mind. She made sure that she critiqued me from day one. It's like, oh, you did a great job, but this was terrible. This was terrible. We're going to have to work on this. And so it kind of built from there, and I was like, okay, I
So
guess
she
she's got to
doesn't
stick
wait
around.
for the 6-month review to come around.
Absolutely
This is
not.
a very.
She is
you-
all
I
in
mean,
at all
hey,
times.
You and I have that in common.
Absolutely.
Because I
There's no
don't
sense in
wait to
wasting
give
time.
feedback. I very much give feedback in the present moment.
Yes.
Hey, this is all right.
This isn't
cool.
working.
Yes.
But no pats on the back. Or,
No, not really.
It
I
was
give
more like
more now.
Now,
it was
yes.
more
Now,
like
yes.
you're terrible at this.
He's earned
do
his
better.
cred.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's better,
It's much better. So basically,
This is fascinating.
Hey, yeah.
so I was like, okay, I see something here. There's something to this thing. Maybe he's not a loser. Like maybe we can make this work. So fast forward like two.
Hold on, I want to like real quick.
Yes.
Real quick. I mean, I want to give you some credit because she was at least driving all the way up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was.
You couldn't have thought he was a complete loser if you're like driving from Florida all the way to Georgia.
Well, I'm good at seeing potential.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure we bring all the credit back to Lindsay.
Exactly.
Okay.
You've met Lindsay before. So.
Yeah. Okay.
There was lots of potential there.
All right,
So I was like, okay. And again, you know, I'm kind of into the like hard-working guy thing, and he fit that, and I was like, okay, I can do something with this. So, so then like 4 months later, I call him up, and I'm like, hey, so I took a job in Macon. I'm gonna be moving there. I didn't discuss this with him in advance. Nothing.
Literally, she already had the interview,
Stay.
was lining up a place to stay, the whole thing.
And you
everything's
could
taken
tell
care
on the
of.
phone, he's like, oh, okay. You know, like, oh, all right. And
Were you in Macon at that time?
I was.
Like,
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
I was
like
living in
same
Macon.
city too.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I mean, at the time, he's like 30 years old. He, you know, he's like been single a lot of years. He's not been in this like serious relationship. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to move there.
yeah.
We've known each other 6 months. I'm
Yeah.
moving to Macon.
So
Coming.
fast forward from there, and we ended up getting married, 5 months after that? Yeah. So we got married. So from the time we met to the time we got married,
Was under a year.
yeah, under a year.
11. Yeah, like 11 months.
Yeah.
So you were really impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were really impressed.
I was.
So it has to make me feel better that there was some kind of potential there, or she wouldn't have stuck around.
Yeah.
You know?
I did.
So maybe I wasn't quite the
you're-
loser that she
No,
thought.
you were amazing.
See, that's
You
what I like
were
to hear.
amazing,
I
my
appreciate
friend.
that.
You
Yeah.
are. You're a likable
Yeah.
guy.
Thanks.
I still like you.
Yeah.
So we get married.
So you step in, take over the business.
well, okay, so that's where I'm
Pretty
at.
much how it works. Yeah.
So we get married, and I'm like, okay, I'm locked in. We're here now. So let's do something. So basically, he had been working with another company, like he had mentioned. He had, you know, been taking some of the overflow work and collaborating with another company. And I
You're
was
like, screw this. We're,
I mean, essentially, okay. So
Basically, that's what happened. We had built a name for ourselves through the industry, and people were starting to refer work to us individually because we'd already had our own business started with the karaoke style. So we were doing karaoke and other things. So it kind of overflowed into where we had more work than we could handle, and it just kind
Yeah.
of got to that point.
So basically, we're sitting in our upstairs bonus room, I remember. And I'm like, okay, so this upcoming wedding is going to be your last wedding with the other company. Like, that's it. From this point forward, it is us.
who made this decision? Was it?
I was about to say, I think we
Say
we
it
know
to the
who.
mic.
If Lindsay's decided.
So he was not for it, really. He was a little hesitant.
Let me explain how this whole marriage thing works. So it's really kind of a group
But you know what I think is so
effort
funny?
and discussion
People
and
think-
decision. Like you communicate with each other
Yes.
to come up with
The funny thing with our relationship, though, he is the ultimate decision maker.
all right.
Like, he stays pretty in the background.
So, like, I'm gonna let Lindsay think she's
Exactly.
He
making the
does.
decision
He's
here.
the type
Yes.
that, like, he'll let me do my thing, and then he's like, no.
Yeah.
And, like, when he says no, I'm like, oh, goodness. Like,
So
he's
you're-
pretty...
So you're level 4 decision maker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is
like,
going
he
back to
lets me
John
get away
John's
with a lot.
business
Yeah.
Decision making.
Yes.
This is you are level 4. You're like level 3 group
Yes.
management
Yes,
decision.
yes.
Level 3, like
Yes.
But if CEO
But he's final.
says,
Because normally she thinks things through before she gets to level 1. So it's already had a thought process to where she thinks this is going to be a good idea. I'll think it out, and I'm like, okay, it's great, rock on. And then when you get to 3, 4, like you said, sometimes it's, we're done right now. We
Usually,
need to regroup.
I know that if he's telling me no, because he's pretty good about letting me do my thing, that it's pretty serious.
That trust.
You
is
know, that
important.
he's like, okay, no, you've gone too far. And I know I go too far a lot, so I'm like, oh, good. Okay.
You guys are so self-aware. I love
No,
it.
I'm like, please stop. Okay, good. So where was I? Oh, so
Macon.
Yeah.
Starting our company.
Yeah. So I said, I was like, we're going to do this on our own. And he was nervous about it. He's like, you know, I don't know. That's a lot. You know.
Well, and the other thing was I'd built a really good relationship with this other company, this other DJ. So it was one of those things that it's a friend. You also don't want to completely make him feel like you're becoming the competition, even though we had been working against each other for a few years. This was like that final draw of we're going one way, you're going one way. And it was a big move for somebody that I've been friends with for a few years.
Yeah. So that was really when it became, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And in that first year, we had really good success. Like, it took off. It was kind of basically like, we're going to do this. We went after it.
But that's because you kind of already had like a client base or at least a referral base.
Exactly.
Yes.
Definitely.
People knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he was already known in the community from other things. So, you know, it just kind of took off from there. So then the first year was trial and error. I mean, you know, we just kind of made it up as we went, you know. And then, you know, as you do more, I mean, you can speak on this.
Yeah, I mean, the more you do, the better you get at what you do, and then the product becomes something that you notice other people aren't providing. And that's how you kind of separate yourself to a different level than the people that are around you. And that was one of the things that we didn't really realize, that we were offering things that other people didn't offer until we saw a few other people in action. And,
Or people told us.
Or people told us, you know, well, they don't do this or they don't do that. And, you know, they don't take as much.
What, comparing your services,
Our services
to
to
other
others
services?
in the
that they had
industry.
worked with
Okay, so what
prior.
were some of those differences? Because I mean, that's huge in business, right?
It is.
Like that differentiator, like what makes you different?
Well, I mean, with me being a supervisor and, you know, running crews of people, you have to have people skills. So that's one of the things that we take very much pride in what we do is we want to make sure that from the beginning of your planning experience to the end, we give a lot of face time. We want to make sure that if you want to set up a meeting, we're going to set up 3 or 4 meetings through the process. We want to make sure that we're not just showing up the day of, hey, I'm your DJ, this is what you're going to get, and everybody go home. We want to make sure that it's an experience from beginning to end. And that was things that people weren't doing. You know, they would maybe have one initial meeting, and after that, it was all about them. They didn't care what the bride and groom wanted. They wanted, you know, their major songs that they needed for their first dance or parent dances. But the differences was we took a lot of time investing in our clients, and we still have clients today that we still go to dinner with, or when they have babies, we'll give baby gifts, or we still have those relationships that we've built over 8 years of doing this.
We developed a really personal relationship early on with all of our clients. And honestly, I think the thing that really sets us apart still, as you can tell, we're just very authentic. Like, we're not trying to sell anybody, really. We don't really pitch people. We're just kind of like, this is what we do. This is the service that we provide. We're going to give it everything that we have. And if you feel like we're a good fit for you,
Cool.
how do you feel? You know, we're here for you.
And the other thing that was really great is I had a female wingman.
Yes, that did help.
That made a big difference because all DJs are creepy, weird people.
Yeah.
So when you have a female that they can relate to or that they can talk to, it makes them feel more comfortable.
It
Yeah,
brings-
because
feel like-
I mean, is it because of the bride? Like, I mean,
The
it's
bridal
weddings,
thing.
so the brides are making the decisions.
Usually, or the
it's
mothers.
Yeah.
The bride's meeting with you. It's a little less
Exactly.
comfortable than bride meeting with her.
Yes.
Well, we would do it together.
Yeah.
So then basically what you're getting right now, this little show of the two of us, that's what they got.
Yes.
And so
I mean, I would hand you guys $15,000 right now. I mean,
and
let's just
we
be
would
honest.
just like go in and start talking to people, and then you know, and then in the midst of the conversation talk about what we could offer and what we were going to do at their wedding, and it seemed to work.
Yeah. And I mean, it was literally all trial and error from the beginning. Can you do this? Absolutely. You go home and Google it. I have no clue. what I do. You know, and we
Sounds so bad.
basically,
so true.
I mean,
in startup life, that is so true.
it is. You've heard of these things or you've seen them, but you don't know how to do it. But thanks to Google, you do. And
if you
after the
believe in yourself enough,
as long as you can sell it to them, you can figure it out behind the scenes.
And then we did it. So whenever we said we were going to do it,
I mean,
we did it.
like, what's this, like, can you give me an example of like a
Of
request like that? Yeah,
Okay,
I'm just-
so I know a big one. So we had this lady call us, and she says to me, so we used to do a lot of, back in the beginning, we did a lot of like video montages for people's weddings. We don't do a lot of that now, only like by special request because it's very time consuming. But back in the beginning, we wanted all the business we could get. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I get this call from this lady, and she's like, I was told that you could do a video for my daughter's wedding. And it's Saturday. Now, this was Tuesday night. I'm talking to her on the phone. I'm sitting in bed at 11 o'clock at night. And she says, my daughter's wedding is Saturday. I need it for the rehearsal dinner on Friday. And she goes, I want it to certain songs. I want it to fade here. I want it to fade all. She was very specific as to how she wanted this thing to be. And she goes, oh, and by the way, the groom is a Major League Baseball player. Like, this is a huge wedding. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, yeah.
Of course.
I can do
Do you
this.
know who I am? I am Lindsay Higgins.
I was like,
I got this.
I can do this. So I get off the phone and he's sitting next to me and I was like, I have no idea what to do, but I'm going to figure it out. I literally worked on that project from that moment for 3 days straight up until, because she wanted it on Thursday. So well into Thursday. I got it to her and it was I still think it's one of the best ones I ever did.
Yeah.
And I have since had that same family contact us
For two
two
weddings.
more events. But that was one of the scarier moments for me because I really had
Now,
no
was
idea.
it what did you charge for that? Like, what was your
Nothing,
time?
hardly.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to set up my, I didn't want to charge a whole lot of money and then it not be any good. Even though I didn't feel like it wasn't going to be any good because I'm one of those people.
You're gonna try to over deliver.
Yeah, failure is not really an option for me. Like, I am going to beat myself to death if I fail at something. So that's like one of my biggest fears in life. So I had a pretty good handle that I was going to be able to accomplish it, but that was a scary moment.
So for the next 2 days, every waking moment, we actually met the mother, picked the pictures up, and had to scan every picture.
Yes.
Put them in. We
Crop
strategically
them.
put them in order, and so literally every waking moment that we were not at work or sleeping, even at work, we were scanning pictures,
Yeah.
or she was scanning pictures, or had people that we were trying to get to scan pictures because it was such a short deadline to make it happen, and it ended up coming out great.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of going off this conversation here. I'm guessing that you probably didn't make any money on that particular
Not when you consider my
request.
time.
But you have the
Yes.
relationship. You've had 2 more
Yes.
opportunities with them
Yes.
since. So that's pretty cool.
So that was
Exactly.
one of those moments that was totally, but yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we just we gained the experience. We had people that believed in us, that hired us, and we delivered, and it just went from there.
So tell me a little bit about how you guys kind of labeled yourself. I don't know, maybe you didn't, maybe customers did. I don't know where this came from. But, being that boutique luxury
So
level.
it was a combination.
Because, I just feel like, I look at the area. Even Georgia, like, no offense to Florida and Georgia or anything, but, like, I know what I got married for, and I know what my budget was, and it was nothing. So how did you guys decide, all right, well, that's not our client. Screw Collin. Like, that's not who. We're not going to help a guy like that
Can't afford
out.
us.
What we're going to do is go after these bigger events, bigger weddings, and do this for professional baseball players.
So basically, I just decided that. It's really, I was like, it's kind of one of those things. So I'm one of those people that I look at a price list and I'm like, the most expensive one must be the best. Okay, I know that that's wrong, but thankfully there are people out there like that. But basically, so I was like, you know what?
Let's just hope none of them listen to this podcast.
Exactly.
It's like,
Our mortgage was paid this month, thanks to you.
yeah. So basically, I was like, I think
6 months after the podcast airs, Lindsay's gonna be like, Collin, remember that episode of the podcast?
Exactly.
I need
Can
that,
we
I need
edit
that
it?
to take
Yeah.
that down.
So basically, I was like, I think if we price ourselves into this point, we're going to start getting these clients. And then once we get those clients and deliver, we can market from here on.
Because honestly, with our business, everything's word of mouth for the most part.
Yes.
So once you start working with florists and caterers and photographers that are at a certain level, they refer you to those clients that are at that level.
Right.
And so if you're working at that level and you're a lower priced company, they don't think you're any good because they're expecting
Yes.
these higher prices from other vendors, so they think that you need to be charging
So
more.
if you price yourself at a lower rate, then they're like, oh, they must be, you're judged on that. So I was like,
Your perception
You're the budget
is a
option.
funny thing.
It is.
it is.
Seriously.
It is, because that is a lesson in perception right there.
Yes.
So basically, I was like, okay, let's go. We didn't go for the gusto, like we were within reason. But I was like, let's be in this market range where all of these people are that we want to work with, florists and photographers, and see if it takes.
Now, the one thing that I want is I don't want to discredit anything, but you guys are a luxury DJ service.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen the video. I've seen what you guys do, the equipment that you have, like. I definitely don't want it to sound like you're like
We're lower level
overcharging
and working
people.
up. Yeah.
Like no. Like the service that you guys get for what you're providing is top notch.
Well,
so
thank you.
I just
we kind of undersell ourselves because
right. But like I think it's interesting. I just find it interesting of like that thought process of like, okay, we're gonna put ourselves in this category and we're gonna. I mean, I look at that the same way with what we're doing in the media stuff. Like there's plenty of clients I've come across and I'm just like, you know. Like I'm happy to give you advice, give you guidance, tell you what you should do, but like you're not the right client for us. Like most of our clients start here, right? And that's real. And I think actually kind of going back to authenticity, people respect that. They're like, oh, that's cool. And then they build themselves up to that point. And then like, okay, well now I am going to hire that company.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing that happens is once you take on clients at that level, you find that it takes a lot of your time. Like the hours, a lot of people are under the perception that a DJ shows up, works for 4 hours, plays some music, and they're out. And that is not the reality for us. I mean, we are putting in hours ahead of time on these clients, preparing, collaborating with their planners, collaborating with them, making sure every single step is perfect leading up into this wedding, and then he has to carry it out. And I could never do that. Like he has to deliver their dream, like what they have envisioned. He actually has to carry it out, and that takes so much time and preparation.
And I think that's what separates you from a luxury company to just the average DJs. Because like yesterday, we drove and met with clients in Jacksonville. I'm going to probably meet with them 2 or 3 times, and that's an hour and a half, 2 hour trip one way every time we go. Then you're going to sit down. You have to make sure that you set up a time with the planner or the coordinator to make sure that the event flows like it's supposed to. Even though they're responsible for making sure that it flows the way it needs to, building a timeline, we're responsible for carrying it out. So we need to know in depth every detail that's going to be a part of that day. If we're doing cake cutting or if we're going to do toast, we need to make sure that there's glasses of champagne that are actually poured before, okay, it's 5:45, we need to make an announcement. You don't just make the announcement without making sure everyone's involved and every person is in place to make that happen.
And the vendors you work with pay attention to that as well, because if you have a DJ that's just going off the hip and they're looking at a timeline saying, okay, 5:45, we're doing this, and they announce it, and then they haven't checked with the other vendors, you can essentially make the other companies look bad, and they don't appreciate that. So you want to make sure you're collaborating with them and working as a team. And these are all things that brides have to be educated on, because they just kind of think weddings happen. That everybody just know it's just going to flow, and there's so many intricate details that have to happen behind the scenes, no matter how much you prepare in advance.
So what are you guys doing to educate those brides? I mean, that's got to get exhausting because most brides are getting married for the first time.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's
right.
like, and so
thankfully, the wedding industry has evolved so much, and a lot of the brides that we deal with, they hire planners from the very beginning that start educating them on that. They have enough experience to know. And then, we try to educate them through social media, through blogging. What else do we do?
I actually had a call from a potential client Tuesday, and that was one of the things she told us. She said, I found you online. Because recently we've been putting out top 15 songs for ceremonies or first dances, parents, not the mainstream stuff that everybody plays.
Yeah.
So it's stuff that we did research, going in and coming up with songs that most people don't use, and we've been putting them out in blog posts.
That's brilliant.
And that's what she told us. She said, we found you on social media because I was looking for songs for a first dance. You popped up and you were local, so we gave you a call.
That's so smart.
It is.
Love it. So it's things like that. I don't know. I feel like we could do better with our education. I don't think we take enough time to do that as much. But that is the big thing that is a misconception with DJ companies. People do not understand how much time and the money, like when you go back to like our equipment, I mean, what you have to invest to bring the best sound, the best lighting, and it's an ever-evolving thing. It's like just as soon as you spent all the money on the latest thing, to make sure you're bringing your clients the very best, there's something new. You know, so
I mean, even just something as simple as a microphone, every 2 years you need to upgrade because technology's changed that much. Frequencies have changed so
Yes.
much. You're losing bandwidth to where you can't get on these frequencies anymore. So now you have to change to a different frequency. So there's so much technology that changes so regular that you have to stay on top of the game to be relevant and to be able to put on production type weddings like we do.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me a little bit, like, you don't have to, but like what's a standard weddings budget size
For us?
or like
Or you mean
what's
a whole
range?
wedding?
Like
Like for
a bride who is going to hire your services.
So for us,
they typically start with a range of X to, you know.
So our range is anywhere between 1,500 to 4,000, depending on
What, like for your services?
for our service.
For your services.
For the
But I'm talking
wedding,
about like
the whole budget, it varies so much because people just have different budgets. I mean, it can be anywhere from 30 to 40,000 to 200,000, 300,000 plus. It just depends on who you're dealing with, and
I would
what
say
they
on
value.
average, 55 to 60
Yeah, 55 to 60 is going to be your average.
is going to be an average wedding.
now, and every year that's going up.
yeah.
And what's crazy is the guest counts are going down.
Yes.
So what they're doing is they're spending more money on vendors, but having a more tight-knit group of friends and family that are actually at these weddings. So before, you know, you've got the 300 guests and you're just doing it at somebody's house or whatever. Now it's more high-end, more boutique venues.
It's an experience for the guests.
Everything from the food choices for cocktail hour all the way through the evening, even for like late night snacks. Everything is a process building up to that whole experience.
And so, are you guys framing this up in your mind about like how you're going to scale it, or is that even something you want to do? Like maybe you don't. Maybe you're just super happy with where it's at.
I
but
don't
like,
really want to scale it. Brandon, he has toyed with wanting to scale it a lot more than I do.
Well, this doesn't surprise me.
Exactly.
So you can speak on
So
that.
we actually have another DJ that works for us. He's actually been with us for 4 years. So on average, he does about 20 weddings a year. So, I mean, we are somewhat scaling it, but it gets to the point that you still want to make sure that the quality is
Yeah.
there in every event. And when a lot of these other companies that have multi-ops or multiple DJs, the quality level goes down once you hit the third and fourth and fifth tier because they're not paying as much attention to them because they're only focusing on those first big weddings that they're trying to book. And then you might not get the same quality all the way through. So it's a full-time job trying to make sure that you keep that quality, the same customer relationship. You know, when we bring someone on, we can't guarantee that they're going to have the same loyalty to our clients that we do.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that they're sending emails out to them, touching base with them every couple months, to leading through the process to make sure they feel that love from the company that we're there for them.
And it's such a personalized service that it's just hard to replicate. You have to be very dedicated to the client. We sacrifice so much of our time really nurturing and loving on these people that it's hard to find someone who's willing to give that up. I mean, when you look at our life, we might have 4 weekends a year that we're off. So you're really sacrificing a lot of your life to be in this business. And it's hard to find people that are willing to do that.
I got nothing. Yeah.
I mean, it's true. I mean,
So,
sometimes
but,
we don't like it.
I mean, could you? Here's me just going to tell you guys how to run your business.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
I mean, could you, hire more DJs who are basically at the price point you're at now, like in that, say if you had
I know where you're going with this.
$4,000 for another DJ through your company, right? But if I want Brandon, and if I want Lindsay, I want you guys coming out for my
Right.
event, then it's $10,000.
It is something that down the road could be. It's just, I don't know. I just don't think we've pushed ourselves there yet.
Yeah.
And
Damn it, Lindsay.
we're kind
Let's
of,
go.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's getting to the point that we still split a lot of our time between Georgia and the Florida markets.
Yeah.
So we're on the road a lot. So there's a lot involved with taking care of the clients we have at the moment. So it's been a slow progression, but we've definitely scaled every year since we
Yes.
started the business. So it's one of those that it's slowly getting to where now we're getting comfortable with the changes of driving to Georgia one weekend, being in Florida the next weekend.
Or in the same weekend.
Yeah, in the same weekend. We've had events on a Friday in Jacksonville, Georgia on a Saturday, Sunday back in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Dang.
and just constantly keeping on the move. So mentally, it's exhausting and physically exhausting to try to keep up with that schedule sometimes.
So it's just, I think we're just waiting for our next kick, where we're like, yeah, let's go do this. But right now, we're just kind of.
Is it like a kick in like the...
Yeah.
We're hoping not.
No. Baby's coming soon.
No.
We like our dogs.
Want to make an announcement right here?
No. We like our dogs.
Lindsay.
I don't think the world could handle it.
I don't either.
Or we couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
No.
Taking care of that spawn.
Well, you just said a kick. I'm like, oh, okay.
No.
So, Allison, you have any questions?
Totally just put me on the spot there.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage to spend time when you guys are working together, do you feel like you're spending time together, or do you guys still need some
Ooh,
outside
good question.
time?
Yeah, that's good.
So, no.
We have very strict rules about weddings and being together.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I don't feel like a wedding is spending time together.
If anything, it's
because-
more stress.
Yes, because it's very stressful. Like, when I look at being at a wedding and being a part of a wedding versus, like, my other job as a nurse, weddings are harder.
Yeah.
I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the stress of a wedding is harder. And being that he is the one that's in charge of delivering it, and I judge him all the time.
And she's a control freak and has to have her hands on everything.
Yes.
When she's not in control, she loses
So
her mind.
I sit there and I see everything
I'm
that's
surprised
going
she lets
on.
you have the mic,
Me
man.
too.
I
agree.
How are you not on the microphone yet?
I couldn't say. Oh no.
It all goes back to the R.
No.
Kelly voice.
Yes, it does.
He gets to the mic because he
That's
has
right.
the R. Kelly
Yes,
voice.
yes.
It's so I'm just like, it's very stressful for us because I'm critiquing everything and seeing everything that's going on.
When we first started together doing weddings, she would stand beside me when I would do introductions, or
Yeah.
we would do parent dances, or whatever would fall into line next. And as I'm doing introductions, she'd nudge me and she'd be like, "You did that wrong. You said their name wrong." I was like, "Thank you. I have 7 more names to go, but thanks for letting me know in the middle of the highest, most stressful part of this entire part that I'm screwing up. I appreciate it." So now, if she comes to weddings, she stands outside.
Yes.
So she'll go outside of the entire venue, out
Yes.
of line of sight, while I do intros, first dances, parent dance, everything that is a major formality. She is away from me to where we can't see each
Yes,
other.
and even people that we work with a lot, vendor-wise, they know. Like
my
if they see
gosh.
me outside, they're like, "Oh, you're in jail. Like you're not allowed to be inside." And I'm like, "No, I can't do it. It's just can't."
Yes.
So yeah, we don't really consider that time together.
The good thing,
I can understand why now.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense why.
That makes a lot of sense.
so it does work really well for us with her being a nurse because she does her 12-hour shifts. So normal people hang out on the weekends. We may take a random Tuesday or Wednesday, go out on a boat, hit a spring up, just hang out and actually have us time. So it works, but it's different. It's not the
I'm surprised you
traditional.
want that after she just rips you a new one in the middle of a
I
wedding.
like abuse.
You have to have a tough skin.
He does.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Okay.
He does. He's a pretty strong soul.
Yes.
He really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, work can be stressful when we work together, but I feel like we work together very well.
We do. As far as the business is concerned, we both bring a lot of strong.
We have different
points.
strengths.
Exactly.
That's super common. That's been common in all the episodes. Like the husband and wife, they very much play completely different roles.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because if we didn't work well together,
There's no way we could have made it this long.
yeah,
In the business.
or personally,
Or yeah.
I mean, if we didn't work well together, it just wouldn't work.
Yes.
And we do. We kind of know each other's boundaries. He knows how far he can push me. I know how far I can push him, and it works. I mean, we still really like each other.
Absolutely.
It's a win.
All right. So what are the biggest challenges with working with each other? What's the Let's go through some of this feedback right here
Yes.
I like it.
on the podcast.
What would you say?
What's one
So,
thing? Yeah, let's start with
like
Lindsay.
she was
She
saying
deserves
earlier.
it. What's
Yeah.
the one thing? Well, actually, what are the 15, 25 things
Exactly.
Lindsay
Oh,
could
yes.
work on?
Well, like she was saying earlier, failure is not a
Oh, yeah, this is-
thing for her. I mean, it's not even in her brain. It's not an option. And that's what I try to tell her. Sometimes you're the only person that notice if one little thing wasn't done exactly right.
Sometimes you're gonna mess up a name too.
I know.
I mean, when you're
A little
standing up.
sensitive about that.
Exactly. right? It's a lot of
I mean,
pressure.
she interrupted him right in the middle of it. I mean, come on.
Right? I mean, this is terrible. It's. I wish we had video footage of those moments. Just the facial expressions
I mean,
that we
this
had.
is why people should vlog.
It is.
Yes,
That's
I agree.
literally why.
Yes.
It is. I would say the biggest challenge, for me as a person and
Oh,
for him.
we're not to you yet.
Well, no, this is about what
about
he's
you,
saying.
okay.
Is my level of pressure that I put on myself and on him is unhealthy. So it's not fun to be the person that puts that much pressure on yourself or to be with the person that does that. So I do think that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of the biggest things that kind of sets the tone. Honestly, it's what has helped us get to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you've got to realize that, like you're saying, authenticity is something that people accept. And, just because something doesn't go exactly right,
Our weddings go very well.
They do.
Okay.
Yes. Our weddings are amazing.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, sometimes stressing over little things creates more drama than what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. And I'm good at doing that. I'm just really intense. I will work daylight to dark. Like from the moment he is very good at turning it off. Like he likes to have personal time, downtime, and he'll express that to me. And I'm like, I don't know how you can feel this way. Like there are so many things that we need to get done right now. And so that's like our biggest challenge is
And over time, she's gotten better. You can tell that it's kind of rubbed off on her a little more, and I've gotten more
My mental
motivated
health
about certain things too. We've kind of balanced each other a lot more the longer we've been together, so it's actually working out pretty well.
It's working out pretty well.
Yeah.
But
We're still here.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for me is just turning it off, and he is good at turning it off. So and with me, it's like once I've accomplished something, I'm done with it, and I'm like trying to do the next thing. And sometimes he's just like, calm down, let's nurture this.
Take a minute to celebrate your wins.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
don't do that.
We
Yeah,
don't
neither do
at
I.
all.
I tell you that all
Hey.
the time.
Yeah.
You and I have that.
That's it.
I don't do that.
I don't celebrate the win.
Because I feel like
gotcha.
as soon as I celebrate a win, then it could fail. Like why celebrate it? We can still do better. Like
Thank you.
I mean, that's just Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. So that's the struggle that I have.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Our definition of win is very, very, very high.
It's pretty close to perfection.
Yeah,
I feel like.
unattainability a little
Yeah.
bit. But then I feel like if I'm still reaching for the unattainable, then I'm going to get something right in between. And,
I'm super fascinated by your fear of failure because it's different than others, because a lot of people's fear of failure keeps them from wanting to do anything. Mm-hmm. So they just don't do it because they're afraid to fail. But you still do it.
yeah.
But you don't want to fail. So
right.
you're like,
so then I just push.
Yeah.
Like I just keep pushing.
but that's cool that it doesn't stop you from doing it.
No, it doesn't. Do you feel
At
that?
all.
No.
I mean, I think that's good.
I agree, because it helps balance me also, because I do like my personal time. I like my personal space, but at the same time, she helps motivate me to take on other tasks that I probably wouldn't have taken on if it wasn't for her. So I said, it helps both of us. And
Are you introverted or extroverted?
both. I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay.
Because I like my own time, but I'm also like to be out in the middle of people too.
And
It's
I'm
confusing.
actually pretty introverted.
She's pretty
That is
introverted.
not true.
It really
Seriously, all the
is.
time.
Really?
The perfect day for her would be sitting on the couch with our dogs, not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think it's because I do so much. When I'm out, I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
So I'm putting so much energy
You and I
out.
have a lot more in common than I thought.
So that when I'm
very
not.
much the same way.
Yeah, when I have my time, I want it to be my time. Like somebody will call my phone and I'm like, no. Like this is not.
This is my time, not yours.
Like this is not a day that I'm talking to people. So that is, I have to have that time, because after all, he sees it. Like if I've been too engaged for too long, I start to kind of.
Yeah, if you're doing Friday, Saturday, and
Yeah,
Sunday,
I
Monday
need my
is like
time.
recoup day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yep.
I'm very much. It's interesting. I'm very much the same way. Like when I'm on camera, when I'm on stage, when I'm on the microphone, I'm, in a business networking setting. Like, dude, I'm crushing it.
And I
I'm
feed off of it.
Yeah, I love it. I
Yes.
am like, people would tell you that I'm 100% extrovert, but no. Like that. I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy every second of it, but I definitely like to get my chill time or like recoup. Just,
I agree.
yeah. That's interesting. Cool. What else? Anything? Allison, I thought you'd be more prepared.
I know, right? I've literally got asked yesterday afternoon about this for the record.
I feel like there's so many things we can talk about, but I just don't know.
And the truth is, like, we're already like getting to the hour.
That's what I keep looking at. I'm like,
oh, really?
That's why I kind of wanted.
Yeah,
to,
like, I don't want to
bring
start
it
a
back
whole
to
convo.
you before we. I mean,
okay,
it goes fast. Like, that's the thing. Like, a podcast will go super fast when it's like a very interesting story, and you start diving into these things. And me, like, that's the thing when I have even with Mike and like I can just keep talking, and so I try to like make sure I'm like pausing and giving you guys an opportunity, and because I can just keep going. So I mean, so what's next? I mean, you know, here we are. Yeah, I mean, like,
So business wise, we're launching a new website
cool.
that will probably be out when this episode airs. It should be about that time. So that's pretty exciting. We've been working on that with our designer for like 6 months. So I'm excited to see that. Another exciting thing we have coming up, we're part of the first ever breast cancer gala that's going to happen in October
Where's that
for
at?
the American Cancer Society. It's
Here?
going to be at the new venue at Santa Fe River Ranch, Valley View,
Okay.
in October. So stay tuned for that. We're really excited. And then actually we're thinking about, we might be launching another company in 2020.
What, can you talk about it? I know.
It's in the early phase, but
So
Like some niblets or something.
piggybacking off of your podcast that you released this week, the trades are down, and it's a terrible area right now because there's no electricians, there's no plumbers, there's no skilled people out there.
Okay, so this episode, just to give everybody a heads up, the one that you were talking about is with
The-
Mark Davidson
Yes.
of Tech Toy Box.
Yeah.
Toy Box,
Okay, because
yeah.
we're recording today's June 14th. So that released earlier this Monday, which was
So
what? I don't
we're
know.
so we may be launching a new company in the trade world as well,
Okay.
because we see a need that needs to be filled, and the resume is there with this one over here, even though he keeps it on the DL, to explore that further. So
Cool.
that'll be
exciting.
another podcast episode.
Yeah, I was about to say we'll have to invite you guys back for that one.
give us a year or so, we see how bad the struggle is after this one starting, and then we'll go from
I
there.
said I get bored easy and want to do
Yes.
something. So
Very cool. So are you going to give us the intro? Are you ready to do this?
The intro as an outro.
The intro?
I got
as the
calm as
outro.
the episode went on.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't get boring.
No.
No.
I thought it was great. I mean, I was on fire today.
Yeah, no, that's why I was so confused. I didn't realize it was 9 o'clock already. I was
know.
like, why are you throwing it to me right now? We
Yeah,
still got like,
gotta get
oh.
pumped.
Exactly. I
Gotta
mean,
get
so, if you have anything to ask, feel free to ask it. I mean, we're
I
happy
mean,
to-
it threw me up. It
I know,
threw
that's
me
what I'm
for a
saying.
whole
It goes
loop.
by so fast.
It does.
How do you guys? I'm obviously asking for my own personal.
Yeah.
I actually don't work with my husband anymore, but we used to work together, and I still, because I still get all the NS Pharrell stuff because I'm here, and we go to dinner once a month and talk about both.
I know what you're about to ask. Are you gonna say turn it off?
Yeah,
Or
how? Like
we
I don't.
We don't.
Okay.
I'll
don't
be
know
honest.
How. I can't.
Like when people sit and say, you know, we'll listen to podcasts with other couples and they're like, we have time. We're at 8 o'clock. We have our time together. No.
That's how
No.
they say it.
No. Yeah. I'm like, we don't. Like, we talk about our business and
24/7.
Yeah.
Totally.
Things that
Okay.
we want to do, things that we want to
You know-
accomplish all the time.
If you love it, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
know, like a lot of people were just like, oh no, you really need to be able to turn it off. But dude, it's so hard.
It is.
People
And
talk about hobbies or getting this or doing that. This is our
your
hobby.
hobby,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is our
Yeah.
career. This is our life. This is everything that we've put for the last 7
worst
years
comes to
into.
worst, you can always talk about nursing.
Exactly. And I get a feel of
Lindsay
that.
does
he
so
gets a
much. What else
feel
do
of
you
that.
do?
Yeah.
You're a
right now, just
nurse, you're-
nursing, the business, orchestrating, launching another business, you know.
You know.
there's lots to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot. But it's, you know, between all the different things we do, we talk about work and all the time. And I mean, it's worked for us. A lot of people say, you know, that's, you can't do that. It's exhausting, da 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 da. I feel like it's been fine.
I agree. It keeps us balanced, because you know that these are things that have to happen. These are things you have to talk about. So it's the things that drive us in life. So we just stay on it.
It's our baby.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only baby we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the baby we have, and so you got to nurture it.
Yes.
Yeah, and they very much are babies.
Yeah.
Companies are like your little children. So, I have one more question. Mm-hmm. You're my number one fan. You've listened to every episode.
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be the first episode for somebody. They're going to listen to this episode. It's going to be the first one. And they want to know now, like, what episode are we? 60 something? 63.
63.
Okay. You're episode 63. Is that right? Yeah. Just making sure. Somebody's listening. They're saying, okay, Lindsay, now I just found this podcast. It's the greatest podcast on the planet. If I were to go back and listen to the other 62 episodes, have you listened to all of them too?
For the most part.
For the most part. Okay. Okay. Out of the 62 episodes, which one would you go back and listen to? Like, which has been your favorite so far?
So
I already know what she's going to say.
Really?
He knows
Oh,
which one
okay.
I'm gonna
You guys
say.
know each other
Yeah.
amazingly. This is incredible.
I have to give it to Noel.
To Noel Fox.
Noel's podcast to me, like the value that he brought, the way that he thinks.
And he stood up the whole time.
He did. His outlook and the way he pushes and reinvents himself. I'm like, he's always looking for the next thing, and he really studies it and lives it and means it.
And he doesn't accept no as an answer
Yes.
for anything.
Can you, Genesis, can you look and see what episode number that was?
It was
real quick?
kind of early.
It was kind of early, yeah.
In the earlier days-ish.
We'll try to get an episode number.
But yeah, I feel like he brought tons of value that could be used in so many different industries. Like you could
It
apply
wasn't industry
that.
specific.
Yeah,
Right.
you could apply that in anything you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and we really got into like resumes
Yes.
and some other
Exactly.
interesting
Yeah.
stuff in that episode.
So I thought that he brought so much value, and he has an engaging voice as well. So
Maybe episode 30. Okay, so yeah, we're at 63. Okay.
I highly recommend that one.
All right, was there another one?
I really liked
you had
the
like
Big
a top three? Or?
Yeah, so I liked the Big Island Bowls episode.
Okay. That was good. That had a lot of energy too.
Yeah, 'cause
And they
I-
both had energy. Elio
Yes.
played the drums, and like it was like,
Yes.
I mean, he was all over.
I liked her story about when she basically went up against the machine in St. Augustine, trying to get the food trucks in there and just going up against
Yep.
all of that pressure and pushing through. And I really,
Shout
that
out to
resonated
Kelly.
with me. Yeah.
Yep, Kelly from Big Island Bowls and
Yeah.
Elio Piedra. Yep. So.
And then third, I really liked the Tech Toolbox one.
Yeah.
Like all of that emphasis on trades and how important they are today and how lacking they are to find people that are capable and trained to be able to carry out the needs that we all need. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need all that, or
Yeah,
none of this
super
is going to work
interesting.
for any of us.
Yep.
I'm really passionate about that.
Cool. Are your top three the same?
I would say Tech Toolbox, Null, and I'm trying to think of what the third would be.
Too slow.
I don't know.
Okay.
So being a Georgia fan, I don't know his name, but the UF player that you interviewed a few weeks ago was actually a really good one.
Was it with Ahmad?
Yes.
Ahmad Black?
Yes, it was actually pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Because it was real, it was raw, and I like that in podcasts. Sometimes they can get too formal. His was just raw. The
Yeah.
whole time, it was just great interaction.
Yeah, it was super raw.
It was
he,
a great
he was really
storyteller.
transparent. Too.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
guys, I'm telling you, if you get invited on the podcast, like the more transparent you get, like the more it resonates. The episodes do better.
I know.
People, those are the ones that everybody talks about because it's like it's just real.
I feel like
I
we
mean,
didn't get raw
he
enough.
really got into like football culture.
Exactly.
And, like, I mean,
Yes.
dude, you're like, I mean, and I'm like listening to it. I'm like, it's the same thing in a company.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's so interesting because we never intended on this podcast. This is what I love it. Like, we never intended on this to go super entrepreneurial. I mean, we've had children on the podcast.
Right.
We've had authors on the podcast. We've had football players on the podcast. We have other athletes even coming on the podcast. Like, I mean, it's been super interesting that it still leans towards an entrepreneurial audience, even though it was never the intention. So, I mean, like, is there anybody that you guys think we should try to get on the podcast from maybe that's not entrepreneurial. That might. I would still like to very much keep it a mix, not really having a plan. I really don't like having a plan sometimes. You know, it's just
That's
like,
funny you
That's
asked
why I'm
that
the
because
planner.
there's many times I've said to you, that person needs to be on Collin's podcast. But what was that? I'm trying
You
to
don't remember?
think.
We'll work on Cliff Notes and get them to you.
Yeah, because there's been several people that I was like, you know what, that would be a perfect spotlight for Gainesville, or, you know, just the culture of the podcast.
There's so many. A lot of people have said, "Collin, are you gonna run out of people?" And I'm like,
No.
hell no. I'm like, I mean, even think about it. Like, even if I had you guys back in 3 years,
Yes.
it's gonna be super interesting
To
just
see-
to
follow
see the
up.
progress.
Exactly.
Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? So like, I'm actually even looking forward to those days. I don't want to do those too soon. You know what I mean? Like, I want to like definitely get a lot of fresh blood, I guess, you know, in here and keep it a solid mix. But I think like whenever we decide to do follows, maybe at like year 5, like something crazy, right? I think it'll be super, super interesting. It'd be cool if we did like year 5, we literally did all the same guests, like in the, you know what I mean? For like in the same order, if we could even make that, that would take a lot of work.
Or
But
do the most viewed or listened to podcast.
yeah, something like
Like
that.
a specialty.
The top 10.
I mean, but it's even
Yeah.
interesting, you know, and like, I don't even know if I talked about this, but you know, we had Kristen Coffee.
Yes.
On the
That was a good one.
It was a good episode.
So I don't know if you remember, like I asked her, I was like, hey, do you mind telling us like how much money you're gonna make on Instagram
Yes.
this year? And like I always feel uncomfortable, like I don't know, you know. I tell everybody on the episode, like I don't want to push too far, but I know like transparent, like, and at the end of the day, like everybody who's watching, like if I invite you on the podcast and you end up saying something and you get too transparent, we can edit it. I mean, most of the episodes they're not edited, but if somebody were to get a little too transparent, I was like, hey, you know, could we cut that out? That'd be fine. But you know, I asked her, I'm like, hey, would you mind me asking you how much money you're gonna make on Instagram? And she said between $80,000 and $100,000. Well, she messaged me like maybe a month ago and said, hey, remember when you were on the podcast and you asked me that question? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I've already hit it. And like this was mid-May.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn. I'm like, dude, that's crazy, you know? And so, and like, even for me, just kind of getting those little emails or most of it's actually through Instagram direct message. It's like, hey, I just want to give you a little update. And I love that because, you know, I'm building relationships with all you guys, which is like fantastic because I get to kind of learn from everybody's different businesses and being able to pull it into my own. But man, it's fascinating, and doing this podcast has been fascinating. So thank you for being my number one fan.
Well, I enjoy
You're my are you number 2.
I'm
He's
one and a
number
half,
2
one and a
because
half.
he has to
Lindsay's-
listen.
Yeah, because of you.
Yeah.
Like he's forced to listen. You know, I'm gonna let that one slide because this means a lot to me. So thank you. Which episode did I perform the best in?
Oh gosh.
Can you even? Is there anything that I've said that you're just like, Collin, you should not have said that? That was stupid.
I don't think
I dropped an
so.
F-bomb twice a few weeks ago, and I actually, listening to that back, something I'm not a big cursor, but sometimes I just get in like these little moods or
But again,
modes,
it's
and-
authentic.
Yeah, but still, like I'm not. It's,
I
it's
know,
one of
you
those
don't
things that
wanna
I'm,
sell that.
and I'm not proud of it.
Right.
And the thing is, like, I definitely. You know, I even have neighbors who have kids who listen to the podcast,
Right.
and I think that
So
through,
then
and
it
I'm like,
changes
it's like I need to control that a little bit more, and then even like the Christian business guy in me, I'm like, that's not a good representation of who I
Right.
want to be as a leader. Like I
Right.
need to clean that up, and you know, but sometimes it just comes out, and you know, Lord forgive me, I apologize.
I think you're doing a great
But-
job.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I haven't said anything too stupid.
I don't
in
think-
all 62
No,
episodes.
nothing that stands out to
Because,
me.
like you
Okay,
said, she's
fair.
like you. She would have told me, and I don't
Yeah.
remember saying it.
Like I don't like.
It's instant. It's
Hey, if
instant
she
at all
ever
times.
tells you,
I'll
no,
DM you.
Collin,
I got you.
Collin really
Yeah.
said something stupid on the podcast
Oh, yeah.
today. Yeah, let me know.
I got you.
Because I it's funny because, you know, you were talking about before the episode, you're like, you know, we just want to make sure that we can really bring value. And I'm like, don't stress about it.
Because that's what I'm
like,
judging about right
yeah,
now.
you know, I'm like,
I
don't
didn't
worry
say
about it.
anything.
It's gonna be great. Like, I was like, if you start stressing about it, then you're going to put too much pressure on yourself. Like, don't worry about it. Just let the conversation flow. And I think this podcast brought a lot of value. But it's funny because I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm constantly thinking about that too. Like, how am I going to bring value? How am I going to keep a good, I'm looking for guests. I'm trying to keep a solid mix of guests. Like, I don't want it to be a startup podcast. I don't want it to be a veteran podcast. I want it to be a good mix, throughout the different industries, and not only entrepreneurs, so and that takes a lot of work.
It does.
I mean, it takes a lot of work just to try to like piece together a good flow. So, but anyway, thanks for being my number one fan.
Of course.
You're the best.
I'm proud.
All right, cool. So go ahead and give us the intro at the end of the episode.
Okay, so
Let's hear it.
you are listening to the WHOA GNV podcast, bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa!
I like it. That was good. That was good. You have one?
I don't.
You want
I'm good.
to karaoke gin and juice?
I'm good. I appreciate
No?
that.
All right. So, now for real, now the final thing. Where can everybody find you? Where can they connect with Legacy Events 911?
So, Instagram is probably where we're most active.
And it's Legacy Events 119.
Yes, 119. Instagram, Facebook. I don't really do Twitter at all. And then always our website, www.legacyevents119.com. And stay tuned because we will be rolling out a new one soon.
Cool. Guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for
Thanks for
having us.
having
Yes,
us.
sir.
Guys, this is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make it go, whoa! We will see you later. Bye.